What's going on, everyone? It is your friend Keith from Essex Recording Studios, and today we've got PINUP here.
Hey.
Killer band. We just spent a week recording their debut album, and we're just going to chat a little bit about their music, about the studio, and what the process was like. So, from left to right, we've got Zoe Skinner on drums. We've got Ryder Ataxia. Did I say that last name right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, awesome. And Amir Smith on bass. Actually, I didn't say what you did. You do vocals and guitar.
Yeah.
You're the front man.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, you've been here for about 10 days. What's it been like? Zoe, what was the process like for you?
It's been so much fun. I've never done any recording sort of this in-depth before. And it was great to be able to stay here and to be able to spend so much time actually thinking about exactly how we wanted the songs to sound and kind of what extras we wanted to put on and working on drum fills and stuff. It's been really good.
Awesome. And our producer and engineer, James Curtis Thomas, you worked with him a lot. He's a drummer. You're a drummer.
Yeah.
So, kind of how did you guys sync? Did you mesh real well? Was he able to help you out a lot?
Him being a drummer was really helpful because he knew how to take one of my parts and sort of change bits or add bits to take it to the next level, and it was really helpful having him be able to do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And Ryder,
Yo.
you've been in the studio once or twice before in your life.
A couple of times.
How was this experience different?
Well, this was a really, really nice experience for me because of the fact that the location of the studio enables it to be really immersive. I'm used to working in a lot of studios where you'll show up in the morning with all your gear and everything, and you'll do your day in the studio, then you've got to pack down, you've got to drive home, and then the next day it's the same thing again. And you really kind of like, in those environments, you get out of the headspace of recording, whereas here you could record until whatever time of the night, and then you just go upstairs, play some PlayStation, watch a movie, go to bed, and then you wake up the next day and go straight back down again. And it really, really helps with just the flow of work. You don't have to move gear, you can keep microphones up and everything, and essentially you can roll out of bed at 9 o'clock and be recording by 9:15.
That's awesome.
It's definitely a very, very helpful process for making sure that the art doesn't suffer.
All right. And what was it like working with James as a producer, having him, give his input and feedback on this project?
Oh, James is absolutely awesome. He's a really, really lovely guy for a start, which is always good with a producer because you want to be getting on with the people that you work with. But also, talking to him over the course of the 10 days, you start realizing that he really knows his shit. Like, I've worked with a lot of producers before, some really, really like high profile names and everything like that, and they're all absolutely incredible. But James just kind of like, there is a reason for everything that he does. He has like different processes to a lot of other producers, but it really, really works well. And if you get him talking about any single piece of gear in the studio, he'll just be able to tell you the inner workings of it, why he has it, where he would use it in the mix and everything. He just he's obviously dedicated his life to learning everything about each individual piece of gear that comes into the studio. And I think that's really cool because it means that when you come into the studio and you say, oh, I want to create this sound, he'll go, I have the exact thing you need, and it's in this other room, and it's buried somewhere, but that's exactly what you need, and I'll go and find it. And I think that makes everything a lot quicker, a lot more organic, and he can take your ideas and just make them sound so much better than you already envision them, because of the fact that you might say, oh, I want this kind of guitar tone, and he'll go, right, you want that kind of guitar tone, but why don't you try this with it as well? And then he'll just start building up the layers, and you'll hear it at the end and go, wow, I never imagined it sounding this huge.
That's awesome. We'll talk about the gear here in another minute. Amir.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Yeah.
I'm doing great, man. What was your experience like recording bass here?
Yeah, as everyone said, it's just been incredible. It's just a really nice, relaxed vibe, as Roger was saying. You just get out of bed at 9, start tracking by 9:15, and yeah, it's been one of the best experiences I had because it's just so relaxed and so easy to get immersed here.
And what was it like working with James?
He's probably one of my favourite people to work with now, just because, how professional, but also he you can have a laugh with him whilst working, and at the end of it, you've realised how much incredible work you've done. At the end of at the end of your session, that most other cases that worked in, there's been a bit more. It's been a bit more stress on have to get the part nailed, whereas you have to nail a part for studio, but he'll kind of coax it out of you in just a nice relaxed way, and it's just incredible.
He is good with that. He is good with sensing, where you're at, where you're suffering, where your weak points are, where your strengths are, and if there's a roundabout way to get you there, and whether you need to go take a break, come back to that part later,
he's just
no
able
problem.
to read someone and know exactly how they work and get them to that point that they need to be.
That's awesome. Now, we have a ton of gear here at the studio, as you guys might have noticed. It's kind of insane. And we do have a shop online on Reverb and on our website. But one of the cool things is that all of that gear, while it is for sale, everything's for sale, it's available for you guys to use. So, Ryder, I know you use quite a few interesting guitars throughout this whole process. Tell us about some of them.
Oh, man, we got here and we actually wondered why we bothered packing our own gear, because I think my guitars made onto it. I mean, I brought one guitar with me that had a lot of work on this EP, but everything else pretty much was the studio's gear. We barely used our amps. I think we used one of my amps and one of my guitars a lot. But I mean, there's just so many incredible pieces of gear. I think I tracked most of the EP on a 1979 Gibson Les Paul Custom, which is here at the studio and it's up for sale. I used a 1971 Gibson SG.
I think the 74 SG. It came in the post that day and went straight on the recording. It was awesome.
Literally, it just came. The guy came and knocked on the door, said, "Here you go," and I went, "Oh, thank you very much. I'll take that right." And we've been using all the studio's amps and everything. We had a chance. It's really nice actually because of the amount of gear. There's so many different amps here and everything that we track most of the EP on the Marshall and
I think it's right over here.
JMP.
Yeah, there it is. JMP right there. Did a little bit on the Mesa too, and I think almost all of these amps got used.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the thing that was nice was that we wanted that real old school sound, but we got to a point in one song where I went, right, okay, this sound has to be huge, it has to be modern, so we just went and got the Mesa out. And you can't really do that other studio. I mean, I've worked at studios that are really, really high profile and very well known. Huge bands have recorded there. And I showed up there and they've had a Fender Twin and a Vox AC30 because the bands just bring their own gear. So this studio really enables you to just come and really, really create a record, because pretty much anything you want to do, any sound you want to achieve, there's going to be the selection of gear to be able to do that. If you come to the studio and you say, right, I want to have that Fender amp sound with a Tube Screamer and a Gibson Les Paul, this studio has all those things. And not only does it have all those things, but you can go, but which Gibson Les Paul?
Yeah.
Which of our 30 Gibson Les Pauls do you think would be the right one? And which of our Tube Screamers do you think would be the right one? And which Fender amp do you think would be the right one?
It's funny that you mentioned the amps, because one of the philosophies behind the studio when me and James created Essex Recording Studios was just that we wanted to have this huge palette of flavors and tones for people to have at their disposal. Because one of the first times I was with James on an early project, we had a band, they showed up, they had their one amplifier, and it blew up 10 minutes into the session, and they were like, what do we do? That's our sound, that's our tone, we don't know what to do. And James, luckily we had a decent selection at that time, and James was able to get the exact sound they wanted, using other gear that we had at the disposal. And it's funny because you guys kind of had the same incident when you first came here. You came with a killer amp, a really cool amp that I've never seen before. What was it?
I brought down a Sears Silvertone 1484, and I love the amp. I've been looking for one for absolutely years. I found one and bought it online, and we got it back. And basically, this thing was a little bit worse for wear, needed a bit of servicing. Took it off for servicing, and the guy hadn't done a particularly great job on it. So we got about 10 minutes into recording it, and it blew up. But luckily for us, the connections that these guys at the studio have, they took it down to their amp repair place, and we got it back the next day.
Yeah, Essex amp repairs. They were
Essex
brilliant.
Amp repairs, yeah.
And then
Big
we were
shout
able to
out
use it for the
them.
rest of the week. Yeah, never had another issue with it.
Yeah, I mean that was absolutely incredible. Like the turnaround time of that, and just being able to have a studio where you know that if your very very rare amplifier that you desperately want to use on the record blows up, they can take it off and have it back to you by the next day. That's absolutely life saving, because otherwise we could have lost out on like 3 or 4 days tracking if we'd taken it anywhere else.
Absolutely. So we've talked about the gear a lot. We've talked a little bit about you guys. Let's talk about the music. These songs that you recorded. What was how long have you had these songs? Are some of them pretty new, or some been brewing for a while? What's the thought behind this whole project?
I mean, we've had a couple of the songs. A couple of the songs we've had for some time now. A couple of them we wrote about a year ago. One of them even before that. And then the other 3 on the record we wrote fairly recently. But you know, it's been such an amazing process, and the tracks haven't even been mixed yet, but they already sound so much better than we ever envisioned. And it's just the ability to experiment and to try lots of new things, and to really spend the time to work out exactly how we want things to sound, that's really enabled us to make it so incredible, and we're really happy about that.
That's awesome. And do you have a favorite track or a favorite part on one track that was really fun to play?
I think, playing wise, I really like this track Queen of the Sea, and that's really fun to play. But I think listening wise, World Gone Blind, which is, I think it's the oldest song on the record,
World
isn't
Gone
it?
Blind is a good sort of 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah, we got a keys player down to record a piano part.
Oh,
of
she
that.
was great.
She was amazing, and that song just sounds so massive now that we never expected it to sound that big.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that song.
Yeah, it's like when we're in the writing room and we're all coming up with ideas and everything, we write these songs together. We have our own vision of where they're going to go and everything like that, but there are some things that we just can't do, and one of them is none of us are particularly good pianists. I mean, I know a few basic chords. So James, with his connections, managed to pull in this incredible session pianist who literally, as soon as she played on the track, it just took it up to a whole new level. Now, we've played that song at every single gig we've ever done, but it's never sounded quite like this. It just took it to a whole different world in terms of that song and the sonics of it and everything. And I think that was just a really, really nice thing, because it adds it's a really nice little flavour to add to the EP when the rest of it's all very, very drums, guitar and bass driven. It's nice to add something a little bit different just to one song, and that was really super cool working with her. Her name's Laura Mitchell, isn't it?
No, it's Charlie.
No, it's Charlie Mitchell.
Charlie Mitchell. Okay.
That's
Big
it.
shout out to Charlie.
Yeah.
All right. And Amir, how about you, man? What was... I heard tons of bass. Major thundertone coming out of that Ampeg fridge. And I definitely have a few favorite riffs from you. And there's definitely some... You're going to hear the bass on these tracks, for sure. It's awesome. What was fun to play? What music did you connect with on this track?
Ooh, that's a hard question, because, as you said, there's like so much going on. One of my favourite songs to play and track was probably either Death Clock, just because the changes it goes through, you know, is like it just takes you on this journey which you wouldn't expect. And Temple of Gods was a lot of fun as well.
I think that's my favorite song.
Yeah, that one's the first single that will come out.
Yeah.
Pretty excited about that. So, going back to you, Ryder, just talk about PINUP overall. Like, what is the plan? What are you guys about? And what's your vision for the future, man?
PINUP, we've always been evolving. I think when we started off, we wanted to be a Britpop band, which you might not believe. But I think we've got ourselves into a really nice space where we know what we're doing, we know our sound now, and essentially over the next sort of like year and a half, we're just planning to evolve more, concentrate on the live show. We've got a music video coming out. And yeah, it's just all up and up and up. The vision has always been to kind of be a band that has longevity. We want to do something different, and we want to be around for a long time. So we're always going to be trying to push the boundaries. We know that when we come back to record the album with CT, James Curtis Thomas, we're going to have even more crazy shit going on. We're going to make sure that it's completely and utterly evolved from where we're at now, because where we're at now is absolutely incredible, but we know that we can take it further and further and further and get better and better and better. So we already know that the album is our favourite release, even though it's not been recorded or written yet. We just know that we have the ability to go that extra mile on every single record we do, and we're really, really excited for that progression, and we're really excited to get out on the road and start meeting some people.
Well, yeah, I mean, based on what I heard, you guys have done a 5-track EP now, and
6 tracks.
what? How many?
6 tracks.
6 tracks. 6 tracks, and everything I've heard has indicated that you guys will stand the test of time.
Oh, thank you.
I'm super impressed. I've been blown away. Where can people find out more information about PINUP?
The main social media platform we use at the moment is Instagram, and we're at PINUP Music on there. The Twitter handle is the same, and Facebook we are at PINUP Music UK, and we're about to start releasing. We've got to do some photo shoots and stuff. We're going to have lots more new stuff on there for people to see.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure recording with you guys here. We can't wait to have you back. We can't wait to see the release. And I can't wait to have you guys on the couch again talking about the next project. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, well, it's been Keith from Essex Recording Studios here with PINUP. We're going to sign off and go hit the road now. Now it's time to kick some ass. Okay. See ya, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.